Welcome back to Red Glasses Talks. The title today is, Are You Remembering the Power? So over the last few weeks, we've talked about, are you born again? Are you remembering the past? Are you remembering God's promises? Today we're going to talk about, are you remembering the power? And we're taking this again from Joshua chapter number 1, and the leadership of the nation of Israel have been given over to, from Moses to Joshua. And now the Lord is going through some instructions and things to remember that Joshua needs to know. So verse number 5 and 6, this is what he says. No one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. And what he's saying here, the presence of God yields and ensures the power of God. Verse 6, be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their forefathers and to give to them. So there was a old farmer. The old farmer had a lot of trees on his property, and he needed to thin it out a little bit. So he went to the hardware store and said, I need a really top-notch chainsaw. So the hardware man showed him several types, but he said, this is the top of the line. So he showed him the features of it and kind of said, man, you're gonna really be pleased. You ought to be able to cut down 50, 75 trees a day. This thing will, boom, get it done. So he pays for it. He goes back at the end of the first day of cutting trees down. He's just sitting down and he said, man, this thing doesn't work. It only cut down 3 trees. He said 50 to 75 trees. So he goes back to the hardware store, puts it on the camera, says, something's wrong with this. Only cut down 3 trees. He said, well, he looked at it and looked like everything was in place and nothing was loose. He said, well, go try it again. Sometimes, maybe the first time it doesn't get exactly done what I thought it would do. He goes back. He spends a whole day, cuts 5 trees down. He not only is frustrated now, he's ticked off. He goes back to the daggone guy at the hardware store and he said, listen, I cut down 5 trees. That's 8 trees in 2 full days. What's wrong with this thing? And so the hardware store guy, he was upset about it. He took the chainsaw, put it on his counter, and he took a hold of the handle and pulled it. All of a sudden, it came to life. You see, what's the point? The point is, God's power is in you if you're a follower of Jesus. When you became a Christian, you asked Jesus in, the Holy Spirit, the power of God, the same power that raised Jesus from the dead is in you. And sometimes we limp along in our life, living powerless lives. A friend of mine said the other day, he said, I want the Holy Spirit to work in and through my life as never before. And so we need to understand what's in us. Is Christ in you? If he's in you, the Holy Spirit is in you. If you're not a follower of Jesus, ask him in, and you get this power to live a different life, to live the kind of life he wants you to live. So here's the question. Where do you need God's power in your life right now? Where do you need it? Is it because of an anger issue? Is it some addictions you might be struggling with? Impatience, fear, anxiety, a relationship, poor attitudes, or even unbelief? You're saying, well, I'm a believer. I follow Jesus, but I find it difficult to trust him. There's a big one. Unbelief. So, what are your needs right now for the power of him in your life? Ask God to empower you. Why don't we take just a few seconds right now? The one thing that pops into your mind right now that you like to have the power to deal with it, why don't you just share that with him in the next 10 seconds? And Lord, for all those that just prayed that prayer, I pray that your Holy Spirit and the power of the Holy Spirit would work in that person's life right now, and in their concern and in their need. Don't forget, if you follow Jesus, if he lives in your life, the very power of the Holy Spirit lives in you.